Welcome back. So, if you joined us last time, you know where we are. We left off with inking the story we've come together with. So, our theme is coming dread, and what we have is a couple poor campers who've lost their car keys and are trying to get it back. And in doing so, they run into a surprise. So, Roberto's done a great job of getting that layout done, and now we're gonna come up with our finished product. So, let's get back into it.
Great. So here's my first layout. Now I'm gonna do in another layer. I'm gonna try refine the drawing. And I think I'm gonna use this tool to make the panels. I'm working on Clip Studio Paint, and this allows you to do this and break the panel in more panels.
So I have a question about Clip Studio in general. So, like, as far as your tools go, I know you use Clip Studio, but have you tried any others? Is this the tool that you started and have gone with, or have you had a bunch of others? Like, how did you come to using Clip Studio over everything else?
I tried a couple of more, but this beats them all really fast with a lot of tools that are specific to doing comics.
Right on.
Like this one, for example, I don't have to draw every panel, and you have the option to do every time you do like a street or a gutter to divide the panels. It separates them in different layers and folders.
Oh, amazing!
So I can turn off one panel completely, and you can draw over the lines, and you will never get like any line outside the panel.
Nice.
So if you want to jump the panel, you can do it like by drawing in a different layer outside the panels, and that's it. Oh, where I'm still inside.
There. Right on. So it definitely keeps things a lot more organized, right? Like each panel becomes its own like art piece. Yeah, nice. That's a really cool tool, and I guess so it seems to be specific to Clip Studio.
Yes, and for doing the balloons, it's really cool too. And you can import all the brushes from Photoshop if you are used to that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So for lettering, I use Affinity. I just started using it. So I was using Inkscape before, which is it's open source, so it has a lot of flexibility, but it also has a lot of like workarounds and things you have to do just to get it to operate normally, right? Like you have to do everything in a RGB. You have to do it all in that. So when you're going to print, it all has to be like CMYK, but you can't do that from Inkscape. So then you got to convert it.
Oh,
the whole thing. Right? Yeah, you're saving money, but you're losing that in time.
But doesn't the printer doesn't do it by itself? If you send it like RGB, they change it to.
They will convert it, but then you don't know what you're gonna get.
Right.
You're sending it to them, and you're hoping that it comes close to what you sent them. Where if you send them in the proper format, at least again, print versus a screen is always going to be a little bit of discrepancy.
Yes.
But it's a lot closer if you're using the right color format, where you can get something entirely different if you're not using the same format. Like greens specifically, I don't know why greens of all the colors come out really bright and vibrant, and if that's not what you're going for, right, like it can like, or the conversion will just break it and it'll make it look like almost like neon, which maybe you wanted.
Yes, I know the Photoshop has a way to get not only the CMYK.
Yeah, CMYK. Is that what it is?
Yes.
You're the artist. You should know.
Yeah, no, I was going to say it in Spanish, and I was trying to translate.
Fair.
Yeah, CMYK. That's it.
There's Photoshop. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a filter. It's like a mode that you can.
Yeah, and it like washes it out a bit. Is that what you're? Yeah. So I think Inkscape has a similar feature, but again, it's just a filter. Again, I don't know about Photoshop, but Inkscape, it's a filter, but it doesn't actually do anything. It's just here's what it might look like. But again, you're relying on external party to do your conversion. So you really don't know what it looks like on their end if you send them the wrong file
Right.
format. So anyway, so I've switched to Affinity Designer and Affinity Publisher. It's like a suite. Like basically when Adobe started saying we're going to use all your art for our AI thing,
Yeah.
they really jumped on it and said, "Hey, ours is half price and no
Yeah.
subscription."
And
So
everyone jumped the
yeah,
boat.
yeah. So since I saw everyone jumping ship, I'm like, you know what? I'll jump ship too. I'll try it. And yeah, I'm a big fan. So the next book, the one behind me, is being lettered with Affinity Designer rather than Inkscape, and hopefully that makes it look a lot nicer. So far, I've seen it's doing really well, and it's helping me a lot. I'm finding a lot of different shortcuts and things that I couldn't do with Inkscape. I'm very happy with it. It's a good tool, but yeah, it's more about like vector based things and that. It's a designer tool, right? It's closer to Illustrator than it is to Photoshop. So good for lettering, not so great for art, unless you're doing vector art, which is a whole
Right.
different thing, right?
Yes.
But I'm not an artist, so not worried about that. Lettering is within my domain, and that's about it. But that's why you're here. You're the man. I'm liking how this is looking already.
I want to show the keyhole, so I'm starting to keep put
Oh
everything
yeah.
a little bit.
So it's not a modern car where everybody keeps their keys in their pockets. It's
Right.
it's an old school car.
Old school people.
Yeah. Hey, their car's not getting stolen out of their driveway because you have to have the key. Not like now where somebody can come to your front door and somehow walk away with your car.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right? A small convenience and it becomes a major inconvenience.
I'm trying to think the expression of with his body. It's like he's like I don't know where are the keys or oh
Yeah,
no the
yeah.
keys.
Like a
Something like
shrug, like yeah, I like that. And again, we have to get so much across with such a small amount of time. It's really two panels where they're having this crisis, and then we're into the action.
yes, he's biting his nails.
I like it.
How do you bite your nails?
Yeah, almost like a fist, kind of in your face. Yeah. Do you use a lot of? I see you're not doing it here, but do you use a lot of reference or anything like that when you're?
It depends. Sometimes I just if it's a simple pose, I'll do it myself. But it's always better to use reference for any pose, even if it's simple, because you can get much more information on on everything.
Yeah, that's fair.
I know the anatomy and everything, but maybe I didn't remember that this vein is in here, or the muscle in this position looks this way.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
Most of all, the clothes. It's the it. I know the how the structure works, the tension between points of the different parts of the clothes, but if you have something to look at in the position that you want to draw, is much better. It will be much better informed. And
that makes sense. So you get the like dynamism of the wrinkles in the shirt
yeah,
and all that, which
exactly.
sure you could make up, but it's going to be a lot more natural if you're looking at something.
Right. Yes.
It makes a lot of sense. Because yeah, I know some artists go really hard into the references, right? Like that sometimes you can even tell what celebrity they Googled to
Yeah.
draw it off of.
Yes.
I know even The Last Voyager, you had some samples of the I'll include you in the comic, and you used some celebrity lookalikes there to show.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
clever. I like that.
Yeah, but nobody took in on that offer. Nobody wants to be in my comic.
That's okay. That's okay. It means you can reuse it. You can reuse it next campaign. Someone will take you up on it, I'm sure.
I don't know. Maybe nobody wants to be like a painting, a fresco in a wall.
Yeah, maybe. They want to be the star.
Yes.
Those roles are already taken.
Right. Okay, I'm going to match on this panel. I'll jump to the other one.
Nice.
Let's see. So for the bear, it would be nice to have reference, but I don't want to lose much time looking for it. So I'm just gonna wing it.
Right on. The way you did the cub in the layout was really well done. So I'm sure you could pull it off.
I even should look like for a reference for the tent.
Yeah, that's fair. Ah, I think that's more than enough to get the gist of it. Oh, you don't need a reference. You're good. Yeah, man, you're a pro. You don't need no references. I feel like we need some background music.
Yeah.
Do that. We get copyright stricken unless we want to start making our own music.
I don't remember how the head of the bear works.
I think you're close now. It's got like the bit of a snout, and then
Looks like a
he looks like a dog.
dog. Yeah.
I think the ears got to go like a cat, and then you're closer. Yeah, there you go.
Something more like this.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah, you're good there, I think. Some background. How do you feel about backgrounds? Is that tedious to you, or?
If I sometimes, but I think you have to think it like one character more. You have to give it like some personality to the background. It's just if you take it like, okay, now I have to put some carton behind it. That's tedious because it's just something else. But make if you make it like one more character that you're playing with, it's something that you want to draw because it means something.
That makes
It's
sense.
part of the story. And sometimes you don't even have to because in the first panel, for example, you can say the car is the background and behind the.
But it doesn't matter what's outside. Yeah.
Yeah, what's beyond the windows doesn't matter. But
Well, yeah, actually, if you look at the art behind me, I think right? No, not too much,
Not too much background.
not too much background there either, but it sets the scene. Like it draws the focus because now it's like
Yes.
this is what's happening. The action is what you need to pay attention to.
But there in the second panel, you had the ring. What's that?
So actually, in that scene, they're in a diner and he's climbing on the counter.
Oh,
Climbing
okay.
on the counter to jump. So there's a big brawl that happens in the first couple pages of this book. On
Okay.
Kickstarter,
Well,
it'll be there in the preview.
you are interacting with the background. It's too small for me from here to figure out what was it, but you're
Yeah,
interacting. So there, it has its own importance. It's not the same if they are fighting in a diner or in the gas station outside, or
yeah,
it has to be a diner.
yeah, exactly. Like it's a key point in the plot that
Yeah.
they're in the
Uh,
diner and some people confront them and that becomes their where their brawl takes place. So yeah, like you said, it has some significance.
yes, it
So
has to be. It has to have that because it's not. It's just like something.
it's
Like,
filler at that
yeah,
point.
exactly. Yeah, it nothing has to be a filler in a comic. It has to make has a point. It has to have a point.
Yeah, that makes sense. Especially when you got one page. You don't have room to spare. I'm gonna ask you this every time you're drawing something. What about hands? How do you feel about hands?
I love drawing hands.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
I'm shocked to hear that.
No, why?
So again, not an artist, but I dabble, and hands are the worst. I can never get a hand to look like a hand.
Okay, they have their complexity, but they are very expressive. So it's really nice thing to draw.
That makes
It's
sense.
it's almost like faces.
That makes sense. Yeah, this panel alone, right? Like it's getting across so much, and it's just hands.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a very good point. I just again, not a, as someone who just doodles here and there, the hands are like where I get really. Everyone's making a fist because can't figure it out.
Yeah, there is a place for that too.
Yeah.
Now the crawling. Yeah, here we go.
Very nice. He's like really on the ground. So how much? I know we're doing something quick for a podcast here, but if you're doing
Yes,
an issue of Voyager, how long does a page take you generally?
I'm doing like from the sketch to the color, so it takes me maybe a panel takes me like it all depends on the complexity, right? But
Of course, yeah.
maybe 4 hours to do one panel.
Oh wow, just one panel.
Yes,
I guess so. The one you got in your background, that is obviously like pretty complex. That's like
yes,
establishing
yeah,
shot. So
yeah. Maybe that a little more because that's even half of the panel.
oh,
So, it's a really big panel.
yeah, so that one probably was on the higher end of the average.
Yes, yes, totally.
And so I know, like when I'm writing, my biggest problem is like there's a time where I have to just decide it's finished, right? Like I could keep rewriting something over and over and over and over. I'm always changing it and tweaking it and doing this and that. And then one day I just have to say, you know what? I'm done. I'm sending this off. So do you have the same struggle or I'm going to keep erasing and starting over? Or do you find that you're constantly tweaking or are you good at just, I drew this and on to the next?
Yeah, I sometimes I go back to things that I want to change but okay, I have to move to the next thing because I have to keep producing. I can't dwell too much on one page.
That's fair. Yeah, it's a
Uh,
constant struggle, right?
yeah, and sometimes it's little things that I see, only I see. It's nobody else is gonna notice. So
That's
it's
the
not worth.
perfectionist curse.
Yeah, yeah. It's not worth it. Like how you said, it's not worth it.
Yes. Yeah, accurate. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I feel like that is like the biggest problem, right? The best thing I heard is get something like 80% of the way there and then call it done, right? Every ounce you're doing past 80% is not worth it. It's not worth it's the 80-20 thing, right? Like
The Pareto distribution.
yeah, like you're just gonna that last 20% is gonna take you all the time. So just send it. Like it's good, it's done.
Yeah.
90% of people are gonna appreciate it. There's always gonna be those handful that nitpick, but can't keep
Right.
everyone happy. And with comics, you're always like, there's got to be a bit of speed to it. Like you always have to be ready to just to ship. It's done.
Yes.
Next, right?
Yes. There's a phrase I heard in a online academy called Visual Art Passage, and is that illustration is art under the circumstances.
Right on.
So you do the best you can with the deadline you have. So
Yeah,
it's yeah, you can dwell too much on it.
I like that. I like that. It's just yeah, just have that sense of urgency. Just get it done. Move on.
Yes. And you can always improve on the next one.
Of course, yeah, that's the thing, right? Like it's all even people that have made it, for the lack of a better term, right? They're
Yes.
constantly producing, and maybe the latest thing they come out with isn't their best, but it's just their latest thing, and they'll have something right behind it, and that seems to make the difference. And that's how the good stuff comes out, because if you're constantly generating something, like something's going to hit, something's going to be the thing that actually, and it's rarely the thing you think it is too, is what I find. Like you say, this is my best piece of work I've done yet, and people don't care.
Yes.
They like the old thing, or
Yes.
or the thing that you just threw out. You didn't put too much thought in it, and it's, you know what, I'm just gonna do this just for fun. I'm gonna put it out there, and that's what people will catch on to. So you never know, which is why just do it and move on. As long as it's quality, you don't want to put out trash
Yes.
necessarily. But you're gonna once it's good enough is good enough, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be the
Right.
greatest. It just has to be
Yes.
good. That's
Your
usually plenty.
this bear head is much better. I think I can.
Speaking of,
Yes, it's much
that's
better than the
distracting you.
previous one. Yeah. Uh,
I don't hate that one. I don't hate
uh,
that one.
but the thing is, it's shorter. The
That's what it is. It's the snout that was throwing it off.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I see it. This is without reference. That's pretty good. Had we gone with the moose, would it have been easier or harder?
No, I think I only draw one moose in my life, so I don't have much practice with that.
So without a reference, that might have been much more of a challenge.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I like this little story we've come out with. This is for 20 minutes of noodling, and this is how far we got. This is pretty good.
Okay. Now the cup.
The money shot. The big reveal.
Yes.
And yeah, I think this works because this is, again, it's one page, so you're going to see all of it. So the surprise is spoiled. But maybe because it's a bear and all that, like until you actually absorb it, you don't
Pay
understand.
attention to it, every panel.
Yeah, right. Where if it's like a car and then it gets hit by a train, well, your eyes drawn there, and now you already know what the twist is. This is like the context will make you understand why this is important.
Yeah, you won't see the key right away.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have to. Why are they crawling towards this bear? And it's oh. Speaking of leaving out backgrounds, this has got to be the best one. One. Nice.
or the cup is too small, or the key is too big.
Yeah, we might have to shrink that key a little bit. Although, I don't know. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, I don't know if you can read it as a car key, but
It's the only other object in the scene, so
yeah.
I think it's relatively clear. I think once we have yeah, just a handful of lines, so expressive.
Okay, I don't know. I could do this, just this sketch from the background.